Today is a day, I tell ya. Let's see if it works now. Come on. Get in here. Is Facebook just on some shit today? What's up? Where are you, coño? Okay, I see you there. There you are. Come on, Facebook. It's you acting super crack now. It's adding you. Yes.
Yeah, I joined it.
So I did. I think I tried this like 3 times, so the audience is like,
It's all right.
Oh boy, but we're gonna do this. I want to thank everybody who is watching and here. Yes, this was supposed to be the Sebastian interview. That is canceled.
He's here. He's here. This is me. I'm Sebastian. I got on the gas. I'm bulking up. Season,
Steve, thank you. You're a lifesaver.
I try. That's what I'm here for.
Thank you. Guys, thanks for joining us. When more people come in, whatever. It's your favorite Jedi, BMF Goddess. I'm here today, and I have the pleasure of interviewing pro wrestler amongst many other, I would say, professional hats, because he's a very talented guy. Steve Monster Mack.
What's going on?
Thanks for being here.
I'm chilling. I was just watching the movie Warrior with Kurt Angle and Bane.
I never got the chance to see it.
It's a great movie. Great movie. Yeah. It's a little wacky in that how things are done, but it's an awesome movie. It's something that, like, before every fight, every wrestler should watch and get hyped up, because it's one of those type of movies where it's just insane. Tom Hardy's the man.
Sweet. I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah.
How are you doing though?
I'm okay. Just trying to figure out what's going on with this weather out here in the Northeast. It's all over the place. It's like Mother Nature's on period, and she ain't got no pampering to help her out.
Over the years, I've kind of gotten used to it a bit, because I think honestly that this is the most normal weather that we've had and they've said it in the past couple of years, because prior years has been extremely warm at times that it's not supposed to be, and that's because the global warming was affecting us pretty bad. And I know this is totally left field, but that's why they're doing the whole no more plastic bags, or they're making the restaurants use different type of Tupperwares. But yeah, it's because global warming was bad. So actually this weather, even though it's a little flip-floppy, we got to be thankful that it's getting back to normal weather, which means good things for the polar ice caps.
I mean, yeah, sure, it's good, but humans by nature are destructive, and no matter what we do, we will always ruin what we have. So
right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at all the.
I do my part to fuck up the planet too.
Yeah, I know. We all do. Listen, I have so much plastic in my house and video games and all that nonsense that's ruined the earth. I've definitely done my fair share.
All right. Monsta Mack made his debut in Arena Puerto Rico Insane World Wrestling in 1997. I actually would like you to tell us a little bit of your accolades before I start asking you questions.
So
about your career.
When that happened, when I made my debut, In '96, I was playing football for Fort Hamilton High School in Brooklyn. I was a starter on offense and defense. I was a very athletic dude. I used to play basketball all the time, baseball. I even used to play tennis, which, if you could picture my big ass running with a tennis racket, probably one of the see. There you go. One of the worst visuals.
Sounds pretty cool.
But thanks.
No,
But
I actually like seeing that stuff, diversify the shit,
But yeah, exactly. I mean, can't live up to the stereotype. You gotta defy the odds. So and for those that don't know, Loki's my cousin, and he's like a little spider monkey. Back then even more so. So we were always chasing after each other, and like whatever one was doing, the other would come join or whatever. But his father got us into wrestling when we were kids, and we always used to wrestle. It didn't matter where we were, if we were in schoolyard or playground, wherever. We were doing some wrestling stuff. And back then, wrestling, there weren't a lot of kids that talked about it as much. It was very like taboo. It was like, oh my god, you like wrestling? And yeah, it was very weird. It was very weird. So like there'd be like 3 or 4 kids who liked wrestling with us, and one of them was this guy named Jamark, and Jamark was he was a year older than us, but he loved wrestling. Him and his boy Jude, they love wrestling. And we went from the 5th grade, we went to high school. We were all in the same high school. Key moved to Jersey. His father moved out there, and he lived with his parents out in Jersey, but he still came around all the time. And we had our friend Low Life Louie, who he knew that we love wrestling, and he was friends with Jamark, and we all we just talk about wrestling and stuff like that. And eventually Louie was like, hey, I rent this ring and we tape matches at this place called Arena Puerto Rico in Brooklyn. It's actually over by where the J train and the M train split in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And is right there. So my grandfather lived a couple blocks, so I knew the neighborhood and whatever. And so I was like, yeah, sure, we'll go. But I had to wait for football to end. But strangely enough, before all that even happened, in '96, there was a ring set up like maybe 4 blocks away from my house, and Key just happened to be in my house that day. And my mom came home. She was like, oh, there's a wrestling ring set up. You should go see who's there. So we I don't even remember putting on jackets.
A lot of moms don't do that.
Yeah. She was like,
that's so cool.
Yeah, my mom's one of the coolest people I've ever known. Like she definitely is like where I get my coolness from. If I have any, it's all from her, because she's way different than a lot of people, and it's not just because she's my mom. It's just because that's how it is. You know what I mean? But yeah. So we get there, and there's this guy, bodyguard for hire, and he's with his son, who ended up being Mike Cruel, who was in WWE for a little while. And he's looking at us, and we're talking to him, and we're like, how can we get in the ring? Like, we just want to see what it's like, because we had never been in the ring ever. We had done all this cool stuff, whatever. But then he let us in the ring. He was like, you guys got 5 minutes. So we're like, wait, we're going to go home. We changed, ran to my house. I put on sweats and a T-shirt, so did Key. He had on windbreakers and a T-shirt, and like we came right back, right? And so we get in, we wrestle. It looked, I mean, I don't know. Compared to what I know now, I'm pretty sure we look like absolute dog crap. But it was the middle. It was the middle of a parade. So because it was the middle of like a block party parade type thing, within like 10 seconds, there was like 5,000 people watching. The whole street was packed, right? Wow. And it was a lot of people that we knew too. So like, because Bay Ridge was a neighborhood where everybody knew each other back then. I don't know about now. I haven't lived there in 20 years, but but a lot of my friends and his friends, we all were, everybody grew up there. So they saw us in the ring. They're like, oh! So we're getting it on. At like 5 minutes in, Key, we set up. He goes for the moonsault off the top rope, and when he does, he kicked the street light. So everyone's like, oh! oh, so like
Oh
right
my
away
God.
we were both like, this is
So it was
definitive.
hype.
Oh yeah, it
So
was
they hyped
lit
it up.
beyond belief, right? So they start
To be the
touting.
first time, what a
Yeah,
wonderful experience.
exactly. So it was in our blood. And then Louis, like I said, from that point on, then Louis, that was in October. So then February, Louis convinced us to go down to the church with him to go to Arena, Puerto Rico and try out. And nobody was trained. It was all just, I mean, it really was backyard wrestling, just indoors. You know, we had a ring. We had somebody who let us borrow the ring for a few hours for $10, and we taped it. And Louis was putting the stuff on Access TV, which is really weird because, you know, Brooklyn Access TV, you can put anything on. But you had all these kids, you know, wrestling. But like the crazy thing is, I don't know, maybe sometimes the world works in mysterious ways. There was a lot of guys like Quiet Storm, Red, SAT, Chris Devine, Kevin Matthews, me, Key, the Christopher Street Connection, Low Life Louie, a bunch of guys who all went on to do stuff in the Northeast and in WWE and international. Homicide was there. Like, it was crazy that all these people were at the same place at the same time. And after about less than half a year, we met Homicide, and there was another guy there named Lathon, who I'm pretty sure a lot of the guys who used to go to the Doghouse know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lathon was this 6'6" black dude who moved around like he was like Amazing Red size. You know, he was amazing. He really should have gotten a break, and we all feel the same way. But he, for whatever reason, didn't work out. But he was a great trainer,
One
and
of the
him and
ones that
Homicide
stood
took
through
us.
the cracks.
Was that? What
No,
was
I was
that?
saying one of the people that slipped through the cracks.
Oh yeah. He had a lot of stuff going on outside, so I'm pretty sure that helped, you know, keep him from getting to where we thought he should have been. But I always, to this day, will always say thank you to him because he helped us a lot. You know, he took us under his wing, and Homicide and him took care of us. You know, me and Key. And Homicide always says the reason why he noticed us because we were talking about international stuff. Because I mean, from when I could read magazines, I was reading about New Japan and Stampede and all the international stuff and all the worldwide stuff. And we were talking about it, and Homicide was like, oh, these kids know their stuff. So, you know, he took us under his wing, and, you know, from that point on, we just went to the races, you know. Within a year, we
So
made our pro.
he did most of the training with you?
Yeah, Homicide and between the two of them, because they were both equal, Homicide and
Yeah.
Lathon. We always say Homicide because Homicide's the one who made it to TV and he continued. But I always shout out Lathon, and there was other people along the way. You know, there was Manny Fernandez, who was former NWA champion, Mikey Whipwreck, who was former ECW champion. You know, there was a lot of guys who took us under their wing for a few weeks to a couple of months at a time as we were coming up, and they were showing us how to do things proper. But back then, it was a different story. Nobody wanted to help each other out. Like, it was very like, you got to earn it. And when you earn the respect, then we'll show you. But if I don't know you, I'm not showing you nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, it was a lot tougher. Plus, you have to prove yourself. Like now, I was talking about this the other day. Wrestling, I'm all for wrestling being all inclusive, but at the same time, you have to know what you're doing in the ring. You have to know and understand why things are done a certain way. And I'm not saying like hazing or anything. I'm talking about just actual working in the ring.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it really should be that way. It shouldn't be because you have a million followers on Instagram that's why you're a wrestler. You know what I mean? But today is a different thing. Everybody, I have to be all inclusive. You know, all right, whatever. But when you suck, you know what I mean? Then what happens is a lot of these kids start
I'm
crying.
glad you brought that up.
Yeah. You know, they start crying. They're like, oh, he bullied me. No, it's not bullying. It's you suck. Get out. You're taking up space. You're taking up a spot. You know what I mean? And
Right.
but you know, I'm old school like that. So, and that's because I came up in that time like that.
No, I definitely feel you on that on all levels. But that's just because I'm a fan of wrestling as a sport that it was at one
Hmm.
point.
Yeah, it's a way different thing now, and sometimes good, sometimes bad. I talk to Homicide all the time, and we really do feel like the dinosaurs. But at the same time, you know, I also, enjoy teaching. I mean, you've seen me, you've been around me, you've seen how I am at
Yeah.
BWF and stuff. I'm always talking to the younger guys and girls. If you look at my Twitter, which I really suck at Twitter, but I'm always talking to my kids, like Deanna Perrazzo, someone that I've known since she was her rookie year. And I'm always like encouraging her, telling her how proud I am of her. And behind the scenes, I always like, give her little notes to stuff that I see. Nothing like demeaning or anything like that, but it's always like, oh, if you turn it this way, it looks like this, or if you do this, it looks like that. So,
Right.
I always, and that's everybody. It's not just, my people. It's just, there's people that I see, that I'm always giving advice to, because I want this business to be better than what I found it. When I'm gone, I'm still going to watch, you know what I mean? I'm still a
Yeah.
fan no matter what. So, I always try to help out and drop any knowledge that I can, or not even knowledge, just help see from what I see, make things a little bit better.
Yeah.
So
That's really noble of you.
mhm.
I appreciate that because these new generations need to learn the
Yeah,
right way.
yeah,
And being that anybody's fucking mother, brother, father could open a fed or a
mhm.
school, I don't feel like everybody gets the proper training that they're supposed to get.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway.
One just put over the lips. I'm assuming yours, because yours are purple and mine are just mine. I mean, whatever. That's cool. My lips look good too.
So I have to ask you, how has COVID affected your wrestling career since?
Well, so a year ago last week, I worked for the WWE as an extra, and that was my third time in 3 months. And I'm pretty sure had things continued without COVID, I would have done more, especially with SummerSlam being in the area. Um, and I was really looking forward to making more connections and doing more stuff there. And possibly AEW, because AEW was starting to come up here too. And I have a lot of friends there that, I'm still really tight with. So I'm sure either being an extra or being a worker, whatever it was, I'm sure that they would have reached out to me, or I would have reached out to them, and somebody would have got me in, or, not even got me in, just, I would have gotten hey, you free? You know what I mean? Like, it would have been one of those deals. With that happening,
Still a chance, you never know.
yeah. There's always a chance. It's just, as I'm getting older now, I'm not seeking out those opportunities as much.
Right.
And it goes to also, like I said, I'm older, so I'm fully aware of how limited my abilities are becoming. There's a lot of things that I used to be able to do 5 years ago that I can't do now, and that's just because it's 24 years of bumps
Yeah.
and fights.
Right. It's
So
wear and tear on your body, like
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, big time, big time. So rather than take away someone else's opportunity, um, and look, you could be selfish. There's nothing wrong with being selfish. You should be selfish, but at the same,
Yeah.
if I was 35, or let's say if I was 30, then you'd be selfish, which I wasn't. I should have been, but I'm not gonna cry about it. I still got to do a lot of cool stuff. You know what I mean? That if someone's like, oh, how come you didn't get a contract? It wasn't meant to be. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But at the same time, hey, I know what Japan looks like. I know what it's like to wrestle in Puerto Rico. I know what it's like to wrestle coast to coast to worldwide, like we say, and get paid.
Exactly. And not a lot of, not a not a lot of not mainstream wrestlers get to do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And like,
that's amazing.
I could go, like, I went to WWE in March, like I said, and I was in Brooklyn, in my hometown, hanging out with my boy AJ Styles, talking about video games in my hometown, and he's the top guy in the company, or one of the top guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, who else has that type of experience? That's cool as hell to me. Hanging out with my boy Samoa Joe, one of the top guys in all
Oh my
professional.
God, that's my guy.
That's
I
one of
love
my
him.
friends. I've known Joe
God,
since
I miss him so
forever.
much as far as in the ring.
Yeah, he needs to make one last run before he's done. But I
He really
also know
does.
that he was very happy we spoke. He's very happy doing the commentating thing because it's saving
He's
his.
great at it.
Yeah, he is. He really is. And you could tell they have a lot of big plans for him if he chooses to go and stick with that, you know?
Yeah.
But Joe's always been a smart guy no matter what. And he's always been someone that will always be resilient and, you know, creative and land on his feet no matter where you put him. So,
Yeah.
but, you know, and look, MVP, right? MVP before the Royal Rumble last year. You know, he was doing the indies. He kind of was not floundering, but you knew that there was more left in the tank. I saw him. He was an agent back then in March last year, and we were talking, and like he was looking out for me, you know. And now look at where he's at right now, the top act on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, he did his thing. I think, you know, he was an excellent how do you call that? I'm so lost for words sometimes. I'm exhausted.
It's all good.
An excellent addition for the
Mm-hmm.
whole business thing. He
Yeah.
really helped elevate Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley's his time. I'm happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I really feel like MVP was needed, and
Yeah.
he did his
Yeah. MVP's always been one of those guys that, for as long as I've known him, he's always been a motivator, and in ways that like you don't even realize you're being motivated. Like instead of saying, "Come on, you got this," he'll be like, "Well, what do you think are your best qualities as far as when it comes to this?" And then you start questioning yourself, and you're like, "Damn, I can do that." You know what I mean? And like he always gets that, you know, and that's my favorite type, you know, because you start, you know, it's not just an emotion. It's like, oh snap, I really am that good. You know what I mean? Like you start realizing it, and he's that type of motivator. He's always been. You know, it's cool, man. Like I said, how many people have that experience? Not that many. So I'm lucky and fortunate that, you know.
And tell everybody how many championships you've
Well, so now it's something like 87, but I've lost count after 85.
Holy crap!
Yeah. But I mean,
when
he
first told me that, I was like, oh shit, very well accomplished.
At one time, me and my old partner Danny Moff, we held, I want to say it was 6 or 7 titles at the same time. I always forget, but the reason why I bring it up is because I know that there was
traveling, right?
Huh?
That's from working so much.
Oh yeah. We were all over the place. I mean, we were in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Connecticut. You know, you name it, we were wrestling. Delaware.
You hear that? Whoever 2 belts.
Well,
Steve Monsta Mack was motherfucking 6 belts.
Yeah. And the funny thing was, everybody was like, "Oh man, we're gonna break that record. We're gonna break that record."
Let me see somebody beat that.
Yeah. There weren't too many teams, you know. But in a way though, it was cool because it was, there was a lot on us. Not only are we New York tag team who's, you know, short, fat, bald guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, but we were Hispanic, you know, and there weren't a lot of Latinos wrestling in this area doing anything. You know, a lot of them were smaller guys who really didn't have the skill or couldn't talk because they had, you know, Spanglish accents. And you had me, Homicide, Key, and Moff come up, and then the SAT and Red and Quiet Storm and Divine. And all of a sudden it was like, damn, all these New York Hispanics are coming out of nowhere. They take it over. And, you know, there was a lot of people who were afraid of us, you know, and it was kind of cool. What up, Matthew? It was kind of cool because back then, you know, we were the guys that were being focused, have the spotlight shined on us. We were the top tag team. We were the top everybody, you know. Homicide was top middleweight. Key was top lightweight. You know, and we were always competing with the SAT and Red and Quiet. Like I said, it just, there was so much stuff going on for us, and it was really cool to be a part of that. And like, it all paid off because then Ring of Honor started because of the stuff that we were doing, and the people that made Ring of Honor saw us every weekend. They're like, we got to give these guys a platform since ECW closed. And look, Ring of Honor just celebrated their 19th birthday. You know, who knew stuff was going to be like that? And you know, it's always just been like, for us, it's always been like,
so sweet. Somebody said something to you.
Oh,
guys, if you have any questions or comments, Monsta Mack will reply.
Of course. I mean, you know, I always talk to my people whenever they reach out to me. Matthew's one of my nephews. You know, he's somebody that I always see. He's very hungry, and he's always trying his best, but he shows mad respect whenever he's around, and I always appreciate that because a lot of
Yes, he
cats
is.
don't have that respect, but it's always good to see, But yeah, like I said, it's been something that like it's been awesome for me this trip.
Let me see. All right, you are a brawler. Your wrestling style is mostly is brawler with some technical.
Hmm.
Well, why would you say you chose that style?
So when I started out, because I was training with Homicide and training with Key, and training with all smaller guys, um, in my mind, I mean, because obviously when I started, I weighed 230 pounds. So in my mind, I was a smaller guy, and
Yeah.
I fit that style with the technical. I could mix it up with some lucha. I could do a little bit of everything, but as I got older, I got bigger. Obviously, your body can't do all of that. So I try every once in a while. Like I'll bust out my second rope Rana, and everyone will be like, "Oh, look at the super fat ninja." You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Yeah, look at." But
Be surprised how bigger people can move.
yeah, I know. Our boy Sam
That
is
can move.
big as hell,
Stand
and
cool.
he moves. Yeah, he moves. But what you call it's easier to get into a brawl with people, especially if you're wrestling different people. Um, it's easier if you lead the brawl and you lead the dance with other people who aren't as experienced, because then once they see how comfortable you are, then they become comfortable. But then it kind of pigeonholes you, because when you do want to bust out something technical, sometimes the people don't want to see that, and they're just like, come on, just get to the fight. So it
Yeah.
really becomes a double-edged sword. I always try to start off with traditional wrestling, and then if it breaks down or I develop a feud, then we get into the brawling, and we have some fun. And then there's those times where you just walk into the building and they're like, you got 5 minutes, let's brawl. Okay, let's go. You know what I mean? So you do what you got to do. But I'm a great brawler. Whenever we used to wrestle up and beyond, wrestling up in New England area, a lot of our
Yeah.
matches ended up breaking down into brawls because it was more exciting and it was different from what everybody else was giving them.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
I
it's fun. It's fun, especially on St. Patty's Day. You get into a nice
you
bar
get
brawl.
hype. You
Yeah,
get into
it's nothing like
oh,
punching someone in the face. It's one of the best feelings in the world.
is there like an old school wrestler that you look up to?
um, well, it depends. I mean, like from when I was a kid, um, I looked up to Vader, Macho Man. I looked up to Masatrono and Rick Rude, and I was a Hulkamaniac. Demolition and LOD. But the crazy thing is, I've been in the ring with most of them. So like,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Even
it's
the
really
even
cool.
the whole community.
Well, Hogan, I never, I didn't even meet him yet, but
You haven't met
that'll
him
happen
yet?
one day. No, no, no. But like, I met Macho Man, and I was like, holy shit, that's
Oh my God, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was cool as hell. And then I got to wrestle the Road Warriors, and I got to wrestle with Demolition. I got to wrestle with the Steiner brothers and the Wild Samoans, Samu and Fatu and Afa and Sika. I got to do stuff with them in the ring and wrestle them, and like
Oh, they're
a lot of, and Vader. I got to do stuff with Vader, and that was somebody that he was like. I always said him and Aja Kong. If they had a kid, it would be me. Um,
yeah.
it just I got to do stuff, and it was pretty awesome with them. And I've been fortunate. But as far as like anybody that's still around, I guess because I'm just an old vet now, it's like, all right, we're all just dance partners, and some people you dance better with, some people you don't, and it's kind of like that. But Too Cold Scorpio is somebody that, like, whenever I see him, it's always mad love. He always, what up, Mac Daddy? And you know what I mean? Like, it's cool, that like Too Cold Scorpio and I are cool. You know what I mean? So like, and he's amazing. I mean, watch him. I think WrestleMania weekend, he's doing a lot of stuff for the collective and stuff like that. If you get a chance, watch any of his matches, because I guarantee you he's going to kill it. He did some stuff this past month up here, and I'm sad I wasn't able to go there in person, but I saw some of it and I was like, man, he's so great, and he's such a cool dude. There's not a lot of guys like him. There needs to be more.
That's awesome. I love how you give everybody their credit, and it's very humble of you. That's something that's lacking as well sometimes.
I get yelled at from Homicide. He's like, "You're too humble." I'm like, "Well, that's how I am. I can't help it."
I don't think there's no such thing, because people say that to me too, but I don't know. It really goes according to how you grow up, because the way I grew up made me very humble.
Yeah.
For those out there wanting to become a wrestler, what is the best advice or example of sacrifice you would say that they will have to go through?
Well, first and foremost, and I say this every time I'm asked this question, no matter what, it doesn't matter if you go to college. It doesn't matter if you go to a trade school. Have something. Have a degree in something. Because in this business, I've seen people get paralyzed. We've seen people get killed. And it's something that you never know when it's going to happen. It can. It's always there. When you step in the ring, there's always a chance. And as it get more dangerous, because they have gotten more dangerous over the years. And by the way, what up, Sam? You got to have something to fall back on, because as long as your brain and your mouth works, you'll always be able to get a job. You won't be able to wrestle, but if your brain works and you have that degree, use it. You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as like getting into wrestling, there's a lot of good places all over the place. I'm not going to list them all, but there's a lot of good spots all over. It really depends on what you're comfortable with. But the best thing that you could do, even though, if you talk to some of these kids today who are wrestlers, I'll say whatever I want. I'll do whatever I want. I got 5 million followers on Twitter and Instagram, whatever. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your ears open. For the very few years, the first few years that you're in, at least 5 years, you shouldn't be seen. It should be like children. When I was growing up, children were seen and not heard. And there's a reason for it. And I totally believe that, because I've seen the difference between when you have a child that, no, I do what I want, and doesn't get slapped in the mouth. And, no, oh, I'm sorry, never mind. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen the difference. So if you're going to go into this business, this is a business where there's leaders. Not everybody's perfect. Everybody's done stuff wrong. And some people, like, I'm sure people that look at Homicide, his name's Homicide. You know what I mean? Like, clearly he might not be the right element that you want to hang out with. But then you get to know him, and he's one of the coolest, smartest individuals ever. Right?
Right.
But, he has his things that he's done. Everybody does. There's nobody perfect on this planet. So it really is what you're comfortable with, But, you have to always keep an open mind, because in this business, it evolves. It's been evolving since the 1800s. It's just something that it's just natural progression. So you have to keep an open mind, keep your mouth shut, keep your ears open, listen to the vets. The vets are not there to screw you over. Some are there. If it involves money, then chances are they're trying to screw you over. But if it doesn't involve money and they're just in the ring with you, giving you guidance, take that guidance and run with it. Don't be stupid, because like I said, I've been a part of football, baseball, basketball. In wrestling, the very first show that I did, there was at least 6 WWE Hall of Famers on that show. Very first show that I ever did. In basketball, how many times do you meet any of the NBA guys or any of the NBA legends?
That's insane.
Football, baseball, any of it. It don't happen. But in wrestling, it does. It happened to me. I know. You know what I mean? If I didn't keep my mouth shut and my ears open, I don't think I'd be wrestling 24 years later. You know what I mean? I definitely would have been out of the business. There's a lot of guys who have a lot of potential, a lot of
Yeah.
talent, a lot of skill, but they can't keep their mouth shut. So they get no love. You know what I mean? And like when you get to a certain point, trust me, you know when you can open your mouth, when you
Oh
have
yeah.
say and it holds weight. But until that day, keep your mouth shut. Mind your business. Don't worry about what's going on with other people. That's the problem with a lot of stuff that's going on today is a lot of people are worried about everybody else's business but their own. If you
I love
really worried about your business,
love all
hey,
of
guess
it.
what? We'd be a lot richer if we really worried about our business. Everyone would be making money. Unfortunately, that's not how it is. Everybody thinks I have a voice and I have an opinion and it matters. It don't matter. Nobody gives a crap about what you think. You know what I mean? Because if they did, you'd be getting paid for that opinion. But if
There
nobody's
you
paying you
go.
for your opinion, nobody gives a shit. So keep it,
Facts.
you know.
I love it. I love it. I love you.
It's funny
What is
because I have two aunts. They're both one's a year older and one's a year younger. And you definitely remind me of my older one, Jeanette. Same look and the same laugh and everything. So like it's like I'm talking to my titi, you know what I mean? And she would pop so hard that I said titi because I always said Jeanette and Maria. I never call them titi. They're like, one of these days you're gonna call us titi. Nope.
What is your personal favorite achievement so far? Like, what do you say? You know what? That day, that was the day. What experience was that?
I have a couple of things, but the top three by far going to Japan to wrestle, um, because that was just something that it seemed like it would never happen back then. Like I said, I've always been the
That
same.
is awesome a lot, and I know a lot of wrestlers that want that opportunity,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I think just as a fan is awesome opportunity.
yeah. Trust me,
Japan
it
is
it killed getting on the plane coming back home. And a part of me died that day because I really didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay forever. But at the same time, like I said, but like, for me, like I said, I always say it. I'm just a short, fat kid from Brooklyn. To me, no matter how old I am, no matter what, I'm not supposed to be anything special. I was supposed to probably end up in jail or dead, from whatever. But I got to go to Japan. I set a goal. Me, Key, Homicide. This is how awesome life is, right? At the same time, the four of us, me, Key, Moff, and Homicide, no matter where we're at in our lives now, we all set a goal. We want to go to Japan. And you know what happened? In the same week, the four of us were in Japan together. You can't even make that with one person, but we made it the four of us. And no matter what happens, where we go, I'm always proud of that the four of us, four Hispanic guys from Brooklyn, that there ain't that many Hispanic idols to look up to in
starting at
anything.
the bottom.
Yeah, yeah, legit, right? And the four of us went to Japan, and we were all main eventing or doing whatever it was that we were doing. You know, um, it's cool
That's
that,
amazing.
yeah, trust me. That's why
Yeah,
I
I
said
can feel it.
I,
I'm
I
feeling
when people are like, you're not sad you didn't get a contract. Yeah, it bums me out just a little bit. I won't lie, but when I have stories in my mind and my heart like that, that's amazing. Because there's a lot of guys who don't know what it's like to travel with their best friends. But I know. I traveled with my family and my friends and got paid for it and worked. And we changed the business. We changed things. So for me, that's big time. You know what I mean? Um,
absolutely.
but then the other stuff is like when I got to go to WWE because I was past 40 and I got to, all this time, I was like, oh, I'm never going to go to WWE. I'm never going to know what it's like. And I used to tell my friends all the time, hey, man, if you ever get a chance, I just want to eat catering. That's it. Eat catering in the back. I ain't got goals to wrestle or, do anything. But every single time they used me for something. I was on
Right.
camera for every single time, whether I didn't wrestle, but, I got to do stuff. And like,
Yeah.
there's people that, don't know what that's like. I know. But then the last thing for me
That,
is seeing all the people that from their day one until whatever that I helped and they got to the next level. They got to TV. They got to, be stars. When I see guys like Jay Lethal, when I see Santana Ortiz, AJ, Joe, I had a little piece in that. And for me to say that you can help people get to that level and reach their thing, that's just as big as saying I did it for myself. For me,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I totally feel you on that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm a natural teacher. I've always been. I like helping people out. So that means the world to me that I got people to that level, because there's some people that never done anything. They don't know how to help other people, and what did they accomplish? That's why people are always saying millionaires and billionaires, they're always lonely because they don't help anybody else. You know what I mean? There's a reason for that. Me, I'm not rich, but I know what it's like to see and be proud of my friends succeed, and to know that along the way I did a part of that is me with them. You know what I mean? So those are my 3 things that I'm proud of.
That's beautiful. The upfront investment of being a pro wrestler is a huge chunk of your time, your money, your energy, your emotions. What would you say what would you say kept you going?
To be honest, it's a drug when you hear people cheer. I always, this is another thing that I like talking about. Let's say there's 8 billion people in the world, around the world, right? Out of that 8 billion, how many people are wrestlers? Let's just give 100,000 around the world. 100,000 people are pro wrestlers, right?
Yeah.
That's not even 1%, 0.1% of the population of the world. But we know what it's like to get booed. We know what it's like to get cheered. We know what it's like to stand on the top rope and look higher than everybody else in the building. We know what it's like to be in like a Madison Square Garden, or even like, even if you had 100 people, just they're all focused on you, and it becomes a drug when you get that, and you try not to take it for granted, because at the same time, it's limited. Time is limited, even though it feels like I've been around forever. I realistically only been around 24 years. 24 years, and when you look at the history of the world, isn't even a pimple on fucking the history's ass. So like, it's a short amount of time, and I know my time ain't gonna be that much longer, but at the same time, that's 24 years of knowing what it's like when I wanted them to boo me, when I wanted them to cheer me, whatever it was. Like, it's something that, like, I don't know anybody else besides wrestlers who know what that's like. Football players know it, baseball players know it, basketball, athletes know, but at the same time, they only do it for a couple of months. We're doing it all year round. We're doing it in our neighborhoods. We're doing it around the world. We're doing it all over. We're doing it on TV everywhere. So like, for us, it's a way different experience. And like, it's just cool that, I know what that's like. So that's really what motivates me, is hearing that, because I know one day I'm going to go to bed, I'm not going to hear it again. That sucks. But I love pro wrestling.
Me too. I know you have to go soon, so
yeah, I gotta feed dinner to everybody.
Just, you pretty much gave me everything without me having to ask. I just, if you would like to let us know if there's anything we can keep an eye out for, or you want to plug us into anything you got going on.
Yeah, well, right now, I'm the first heavyweight champion for Titan Championship Wrestling out of Jersey. I know your boys are doing our competition.
Nice.
Yeah, your boys are doing SWF, but it's all good. It's all love. No matter what's going on, everybody's cool, and you know what I mean? Like,
snag them first.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been doing that. Titan's got a lot of big things coming up. When they get announced, trust me, everyone's gonna be like, whoa, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of big things going on. Yeah, but I'm also I'm waiting for New York to open up because I'm still BWF NYC champion.
Yes.
You know, I'm
Can't
looking.
wait too.
I know I'm supposed to get a new belt. I'm supposed to get, a couple of good title defenses. I'm waiting. You know what I mean? Plus, I love pissing off the people in the Bronx. You know what I mean? Like
The crowd gets hype.
oh,
It gets
they,
live. It be
they
lit.
get they
I
get
love it.
so angry at me, especially the last show because it was
They
right
do.
after.
They
Yeah.
do. They be doing the shit out of you.
Oh yeah,
But you already know you're over. You're
they love
over.
hating me there in the Bronx, and I love hating the Bronx back. You know what I mean? What you call? No, but like the last show was right after Kobe died, and I said something about Kobe. Oh, how dare! Like you felt it from their heart. They hated me, and I was like, yes. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I love working up in BWF. That's my essence is New York. All the kids coming up in New York, getting their start, learning, like that's for me. You know what I mean? And I love helping out there. But I'm like that with everywhere. But there, it's like because it's New York, it means that much more to me. You know what I mean? And even though I hate the Bronx, I really hate hate the Bronx. I'm a Brooklyn. I'm saying I'm a Brooklyn boy, so it's always gonna be Brooklyn versus the Bronx, but Brooklyn's always better. You know what I'm saying? But my I'm reading what CJ is.
Yeah, he messed up.
Yeah. But what you call there's also when Combat Zone Wrestling returns, I'm sure I'll be a part of that because I was towards the end before COVID. For the last year, I'd been helping out in the back, and like that's another thing where like guys like John Silver, Anthony Green, Ava Everett, there's so many people there that are doing things now on NXT, AEW, Alex Reynolds, that I had a hand in helping out with their matches there, and like Brandon Kirk, who's doing his deathmatch thing. There's so many guys and girls that I help with there. And they're all blowing up. Layla Hirsch was someone that, I was helping out with. She just signed with AEW this week. Like I love being a part of that environment. I love the backstage stuff too, because, this weekend I did a show with Titan Championship Wrestling and they were filming a promo and I was helping out with the promos, and it always feels so good, especially when they knock it out the park the next time they do it after you talk to them. It's like, see, like, that's what I'm talking about. I knew that I saw it, that you had it. You didn't see it, but I pointed it out and it came out and now you see it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the best feeling in the world, man. It short of having my daughter, because my daughter is my
young talents.
Yes. My daughter is awesome, but when I get to, do what I do and be around what I love and help out the people that deserve it, because not everybody deserves the help. I'll be straight up. You know what I mean? Like some people, no, that was good, kid. Yeah. But then there's the other ones. Hey, you did this. You need to work on this. You need to do this. I saw this. This could happen. You know what I mean? You know who I like and who I don't, how I talk to them and how much time I spent with them. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's just the best. I love that feeling. So, but yeah, I get to do that at all the places that I work now because I'm an old ass dinosaur, and they all look at me like, okay, grandpa time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, worst comes to worst, you can always check me out. I always send everybody my Twitter. That's my only like wrestling, social media, because I had Facebook and I had Instagram, but it just became too much. You know, since I'm not really on Twitter as much, it's a lot easier to just post whatever I need there and worry about what I need to worry about later. But you can always hit me up there at Steve Mack DHS. MACK, because there's people that, is it MAC or MACK or is it MACH? But yes, Mac DHS on Twitter, and I'm, if you hit me up, 9 times out of 10 I answer, unless you're a creep who's like, what are you doing? Like, nah.
I remember the first time I seen you at BWF. And everybody got hype and everybody was booing, and I was like, this guy is awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks again for being here. I
love
appreciate
work.
and I'm sure your words will not fall on deaf ears. Thank
It, I hope not. I mean, to be honest, like I said, I just want the world to be a little bit better. That's it. I'm not asking for much.
Right.
But thank you for
So
having me.
guys, thank you for being here. And you already know tomorrow BMF got us on YouTube. Thank you, Steve. Everybody
By the
have a
way,
good
waiting to find out who had the better lips. Was it me or you? I don't know. She never answered us.
You guys. Oh man. May the force be with y'all. Later.
Peace.